All right. Whoa. I guess we'll go ahead and get started here, just to give us plenty of time. Welcome to our roundtable discussion on the importance of focus on cortical areas as a focus of neuroimaging and studies of human brain function. As many of you are aware, there has been kind of conflicting schools of thoughts on this. And most recently embodied by a couple opinion pieces, the Noble et al. Piece and the Peterson et al. Piece over the past couple years. And so what we wanted to do was bring together people of varying perspectives and have a discussion about it. So my own interest, just as a brief introduction, started when I was looking at area LIP in graduate school. Shown here, this is the macaque brain viewed from above, and this is LIP on the lateral bank of the intraparietal sulcus. It's an area that, based on David Van Essen's FACT criteria, function, architectonics, connectivity, and topography, people like Richard Anderson, David, and other people in the late 80s and early 90s helped define this area as an area that where cells all had memory delay activity in a delayed saccade task. Also, at the same time, had a differentiated cell staining structure with a kind of a de-emphasized layer 4 and emphasized layer 2 compared to the neighboring area 7A. Had a very distinct connectivity pattern, with areas like visual areas like MT and V4, but also then the frontal eye fields. As shown here, this is from a work derived from David Van Essen's neuroanatomy study in 2000. And then also thought to have a topographic map on the lateral bank of the intraparietal sulcus. However, as we drilled down to the details of this, funny things started happening with LIP, right? So the idea here is that these FACT criteria mean that the map of the function, architectonics, connectivity, and topography match 1 to 1 to 1. That's the idea behind the FACT criteria. When we started drilling into the details of this, LIP was an incredibly functionally heterogeneous area. So one bit of evidence around this is Larry Snyder and Yuqing Liu published finding that the inactivating LIP ventrally hit the ability to do covert attention versus dorsally was only interfered with ocular motor planning. Other studies have shown that there are many neurons in LIP that do a lot of different things representing visual categorization and other things, and they're all intermingled. There might be neurons that are right next to each other. And furthermore, only in the posterior part do people like Mike Shadlin find their decision ramp making activity. That's where they always record their signals. LIP, even though the cell staining is similar across all of LIP, the ventral part of LIP is densely myelinated and the dorsal part is not, right? So that's the distinction between LIP, V, and D. And the connectivity patterns differs not dorsal ventrally, but anterior-posteriorly, with the anterior part of it projecting more to the ventral part of the frontal eye fields and the posterior part projecting more to the dorsal part of the frontal eye fields. And lastly, when we looked at the topographic mapping in this area, and this is our map, but there's many other people that have looked at this now, we find that the map is A, contained within LIPV, and B, contains a peripheral field map in the posterior part, but no foveal representation where it should be. It's actually more posterior to that. So all of these observations led us to come up with kind of new ways of thinking at least about topographic maps. Rather than them reflecting all of the sensory dimension and filling the entirety of the cortical area, we proposed a principle in our 2014 review saying that maybe the maps may only have to represent the part of the topographic map that's necessary for the function. There may be multiple maps in a single area, and that the map covers all of the neurons in that area that perform that function, but if there's multiple functions, it may not cover the entire area. So this was our kind of partial updating of the idea of the FACT criteria, but now I'll pass it on to our amazing panel here. There's been a couple changes here. So Mike is co-chairing the panel to substitute for Avram Holmes, who was not able to make it. And then we'll be hearing from Dustin Shinost, Evan Gordon, Nicola Palomero Gallagher, Sarah Heilbronner, and Daniel Margulies, who's stepping in for Tingzu, who is also unable to make it. So with that, I will hand it over to Dustin.